Okay, good morning, everyone. We'll call the meeting to order at 9:57. And with that, Carrie, roll call, please.
All right, good morning, everyone. Do I have Alameda on the line?
Yes.
Okay,
Here.
thank you. Bart?
Present.
Okay. Biggs?
Present.
Gridley? Gridley is absent. Healdsburg?
Here.
Lodi? Melissa Price? Okay, thank you. Lompoc?
Here.
Okay, thank you. Palo Alto? Okay. Plumas?
Here.
Okay. Port of Oakland?
Here.
Okay, thank you. Reading? Looks like Reading is absent. Roseville?
Here.
Okay. Santa Clara?
That's Jane.
Okay, thank you. Shasta Lake?
Here.
Truckee Donner?
Here.
And that's Steve, okay. And Ukiah? Okay, it looks like Ukiah is also absent. Okay, so we do have a quorum present. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Item 2, approval of the minutes of January 22nd commission meeting. If there are no corrections, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Rosal so moves.
Do I have a second?
Santa Clara seconds.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Okay, thank you. Roll call vote here. Alameda?
Yes.
Bart?
Yes.
Biggs?
Yes.
Gridley is absent. Healdsburg?
Yes.
Lodi?
Yes.
Lompoc?
Yes.
Palo Alto? Port of Oakland?
Yes.
Reading is absent. Roseville?
Yes.
Santa Clara?
Yes.
Shasta Lake?
Yes.
Truckee Donner?
Yes.
Ukiah is absent. And Plumas?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Public forum. Any member of the public who desires to address the commission on any item considered by the commission at this meeting before or during the commission's consideration of that item shall so advise the chair and shall thereupon be given the opportunity to do so. Any member of the public who desires to address the commission on any item within the jurisdiction of the commission and not listed on the agenda may do so at this time. Do we have any members of the public at any location here or on Zoom?
Any
Hearing,
members of the public?
hearing none. Moving on to reports and committee updates, general manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you all for participating. I'm going to try to be brief just because I know we're starting late. I apologize for that. Just a couple things going on. We next week have a number of folks going to APPA legislative rally. So a number of activities that will be taking place, and some of that's just really in preparation of what's to come for the Federal Policy Conference. So I think Dave will talk a little bit more about that. For me specifically, I've been asked to represent NCPA and APPA before a congressional hearing that's taking place on Tuesday. So it'll be before the committee that I spoke with just prior to the new year. It'll be the Natural Resources, Water, Wildlife, and Fisheries Committee, the subcommittee I'm speaking before. Is the same subcommittee, and the topic of the hearing is bureaucratic delays and the cost to ratepayers in electric power systems. So that can be a wide array of topics. My focus certainly is I've been asked to come back, speak a little bit more about some of the issues related to wildfires and the opportunity to do vegetation management and some of the sedimentation issues that we've been working on. So I will be sharing some thoughts with the committee, but that will be taking place on Tuesday. I've also been asked to represent the West in APPA meetings with each of the FERC commissioners. So we currently have scheduled meetings with each FERC commissioner on Monday and Tuesday. So I will represent the Western U.S. for public power. We'll be focusing on the expansion of the markets, kind of what's going on, the progress there, some of our concerns that we see, some of the issues still regarding transmission rates and tariffs that they keep approving on behalf of the IOUs. And then we'll be touching a little bit on, again, some of the wildfire issues and the impacts that FERC needs to pay attention to as they're looking and due to the presidential executive order on wildfires, they have to report back out on things that they need to be taking care of and looking at, including potential NERC obligations and standards. So I will be sharing some thoughts there in those FERC meetings. And then after that, Jane L. has arranged for me to speak at the PANC meeting next Thursday in San Francisco. So I look forward to sharing some thoughts a little bit with the PANC meeting on Thursday. So a lot going on and coming up. We have in March, early March, we have the UD retreat and the opportunity for our utility directors to come together with the executive team at NCPA and kind of lay out thoughts as to what we should be focused on this next year. And really, there's a need to start framing the new strategic plan, which should be, a priority of a new general manager. But again, the UDs play a very significant role in kind of giving direction on what kind of services and support they'd like to see NCPA enhancing or reducing going forward. So that will be taking place. And this year, it's not in Healdsburg, which we love Healdsburg, David. We truly love Healdsburg. But we're going to Lodi, and they're going to treat us to a little bit of their wine country. Sorry. Great wine for blending. Great wine. Wow, this wine competition continues here in all of our venues. But again, I think it's a great opportunity for the UDs to get together, and I encourage them all to participate because it is so important for guidance for the executive team going forward. So with that, I will stop and see if there are any questions. Lots of other things going on, but any questions from anybody? Thank you.
Okay. Good morning. So the executive committee met this morning. A quorum was established. We received a report from Korn Ferry. So the general, here's the report or the update. The general manager search remains on schedule since executing the agreement with Korn Ferry in November. The firm has been actively sourcing and assessing candidates. And earlier this month, they presented the executive committee with a long list of qualified candidates. The committee has reviewed those materials and has finalized the slate of first-round interviews, along with the interview questions and process. Virtual first-round interviews are scheduled for early March, after which the committee will identify finalists for an in-person interview later in the spring. Our current timeline continues to target selection of the next general manager by the end of April. In addition to that, we pushed item 22 to the commission meeting, and we deferred item 24. Is that right?
Yeah, we pulled item 22. We're going to pull item 22 off consent and discuss it here because it was not discussed at the executive committee, and so it should not be on consent. And we are pulling item number 24. Is that it?
Yes.
Yeah, pulling item 24.
Yeah. So with that, that's my update. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Hearing none. Facilities?
Great, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Quick update, the Facilities Committee did meet on February 4th. During that discussion, they did review the following items that are being presented to you for consideration today, specifically items 14, 15, 19, 20, and 21 that are listed under consent. The Facilities Committee did not review any of the discussion items that are presented to you today. The Facilities Committee also met in a joint meeting with the Finance Committee on February 11th. And during that meeting, both committees were presented the initial fiscal year 2027 annual budget presented by NCPA staff. And pending any questions regarding that, that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you, Tony. Any questions for Tony? Any hands up? Okay, moving on to finance.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Monty Hanks. The Finance Committee met twice in February. The first meeting was on the 10th and reviewed item 13 on the consent calendar. The committee recommended this for acceptance. The committee also reviewed the financials related to item number 23 and concluded that there were no issues to report to the commission. The second meeting, which you've already heard from Tony, was the meeting on February 11th regarding the budget, so I'm not going to say any more than what Tony had already said. And so with this concludes my report. Open for any questions you may have.
Any questions for Tony? Any hands up? Or Tony, excuse me, Monty. Or Tony. Okay, legal.
Okay, so Mr. Chair, the legal committee met on February 5th. We discussed the closed session items that we'll be discussing later in this meeting. And we also discussed the kind of the details around prevailing wage, when it applies and doesn't apply in many of the contracts that Emily has been working with on the customer program, some of which are coming through today and others will be coming in the future. There's an exception and a carve out to prevailing wage for certain construction. Single family homes is one of them. And so we're really kind of working on the nuances of that. So that's my report. Does anybody have any questions?
Hearing no questions
you.
for Jane? Thank you. Legislative and regulatory.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The NCPA L&R Committee met yesterday to conduct its annual budget workshop and voted to recommend approval by the NCPA Commission. We also approved several contracts advanced by the NCPA customer programs member working groups and heard updates on the state and federal policy issues NCPA is engaged in. This included work with Assembly Utilities and Energy Committee Chair Cotty Petrie Norris to introduce CEQA reform legislation to enable utilities to rebuild hardened infrastructure in the wake of a wildfire and conduct needed mitigation work to prevent future fires. This effort grew out of NCPA's discussions with the chair during our Capitol Day advocacy. We also talked in depth about our federal policy issues to ensure those attending the APPA legislative rally in Washington, D.C. were fully briefed in advance of our Capitol Hill and federal agency visits next week. Next week, during the APPA rally, we'll be meeting with our delegation to lay the groundwork for our meetings with members of Congress when we're in D.C. for the NCPA NWPPA Federal Policy Conference. We'll be offering a resolution to shape APPA's policy on NEPA reform and participating in high-level APPA CEO delegation visits with the FERC commissioners. NCPA has been asked to testify again in Congress on Tuesday during the rally. The House Natural Resources Subcommittee on Water, Wildlife, and Fisheries will be holding a hearing entitled Bureaucratic Delays and Costs to Ratepayers in Electric Power Systems. Randy will be testifying in the hearing, which focuses primarily on barriers to wildfire mitigation by utilities. He'll be representing APPA and NCPA. Mason Baker, CEO of Utah Associated Municipal Power Systems, will also be testifying along with representatives from two rural electric cooperatives, IBEW and NV Energy, among others. This is another outstanding high-profile opportunity to demonstrate NCPA's national leadership on these key issues of importance to our members and the public power sector on top of our testimony before the committee in January. Thank you to all who joined us for Capitol Days, where we gained valuable insights from state legislators and staff that will inform our advocacy throughout the coming year. We also laid out our policy priorities to help shape the energy policy agenda. Next, we'll be turning toward our federal advocacy as part of the NCPA NWPPA Federal Policy Conference. Registration for this conference, which will be held in Washington, D.C. on April 26th to the 30th. Registration for this conference is now open. Look for the link in an email to the LNR committee that will be sent out to members today. With that, I'll see if there's any questions.
Any questions for Dave? Any questions online? Or hands up?
The only thing I will say, and it was mentioned yesterday, if you were able to participate in the LNR, is the outcome of a Capitol Day. We've had some really positive feedback from some of the meetings that took place, including with the chair of Assembly Utilities. And we have now provided some language that if it was to be brought forward, one, we're going to need to support very aggressively, but some CEQA reform and a willingness to take and initiate a bill on behalf of NCPA. So it's just so valuable, your participation there and being able to bring these issues up. But we just recognize we have to be clear, concise, and they're willing and they're listening to public power right now. I mean, the chair really, I think if it was brought by PG&E, it wouldn't get an audience, but being brought by public power, it really, they're considering those things, and so really important time spent. So.
Thank you. Item 9, so any questions, any hands up online? Okay, thank you. Item 9, member announcement or meeting reports. Anything from anybody? Moving on to the consent calendar. All items on the consent calendar are considered routine and will be approved without discussion by a single roll call vote. Any commissioner or member of the public may remove any item from the consent calendar. If an item is removed, it will be discussed separately following the approval of the remainder of the consent calendar. Prior to the roll call vote of the approval of the consent calendar, the commissioners will be polled to determine if any member wishes to abstain from one or more items on the consent calendar. So we definitely want to pull, oh, you're going to take care of that?
Yeah,
Yes.
I can do this. So we need to pull items 16 and 17. For those of you who are here at LNR, we just want to correct some typos that we had there. So we're going to pull those off and have them discussion so we can make the same correction here. And we need to pull item number 22 because that was not discussed at the executive committee. So that needs to be discussed in open session here, and we'll need to modify that staff report as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any others?
You want to go ahead and ask for abstentions?
Abstentions and stuff.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and ask for any abstentions. Alameda, did you want to abstain from anything?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bart?
No.
No? Okay. Biggs?
No.
Ridley is absent. Healdsburg? Nope. Lodi?
Nope, we're all good.
Okay, thank you. Lompoc?
No.
Palo Alto?
No.
No? Okay. Port of Oakland?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Reading is absent. Roseville?
Yes, number 19.
Okay, thank you. Santa Clara?
The same, number 19.
Okay. Shasta Lake?
None.
None? Okay. Truckee Donner?
None.
Ukiah is absent. And Plumas?
None.
None? Okay. Thank you.
Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Santa Clara moves approval.
Do I have a second?
Roseville seconds.
Okay, a roll call, please.
Okay, this is a roll call vote on the consent calendar.
Yes.
Alameda?
Yes.
Bart?
Yes.
Biggs?
Yes.
Gridley is absent. Healdsburg?
Yes.
Lodi,
Yes.
Lompoc,
Yes.
Palo Alto,
Yes.
Port of Oakland,
Yes.
Reading is absent. Roseville,
Yes.
Santa Clara,
Yes.
Shasta Lake,
Yes.
Truckee Donner,
Yes.
Ukiah is absent, and Plumas. Okay, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 16.
That's correct. So, and what's the pleasure? So what's the pleasure of the commissioners? Would you like Emily to go back through the presentation she went through at L&R? Or do you guys feel like you're comfortable and understand what this issue is? This is the contract with TRC Engineering Services for energy efficiency services with the corrections noted yesterday. Would anyone like to see the presentation? Okay, why don't you pull it up? You can pull up the, just the slide with the change in it.
This is it right here.
Yes. Okay, there we go.
So there were some typographical errors.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions on this item? If not, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to approve with the corrections and then general services.
Santa Clara moves approval of 16, which
Okay.
is general services agreement with TRC.
Correct. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sud.
Alameda seconds.
Okay, motion and second. Roll call, please.
Okay, roll call vote. Alameda,
Yes.
Bart, Biggs,
Yes.
Gridley is absent. Healdsburg,
Yes.
Lodi,
Yes.
Lompoc,
Yes.
Palo Alto,
Commissioner Vinker, are you on? Okay, yes.
Port of Oakland,
Yes.
Reading is absent. Roseville,
Yes.
Santa Clara,
Yes.
Shasta Lake,
Yes.
Truckee Donner,
Yes.
Ukiah is absent, and Plumas? Okay, I think that was yes, right? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Item 17, resolution 26-17.
Santa Clara moves approval of the multitask general services agreement with Eagle Systems.
Thank you.
Okay, do I have a second?
Rosal seconds.
Okay, motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Okay, roll call vote. Alameda, Bart, Biggs,
Yes.
Gridley is absent. Healdsburg,
Yes.
Lodi,
Yes.
Lompoc, Palo Alto,
Yes.
Port of Oakland,
Yes.
Reading is absent. Roseville,
Yes.
Santa Clara,
Yes.
Shasta Lake,
Yes.
Truckee, Ukiah is absent, and Plumas?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, item 22, resolution 26-20. Thank you, Jane.
Yep, so Carrie's going to bring up the presentation right now. Yep, teleconference, that's right. And you can move to the next place. So the legislature made some pretty dramatic changes to the Brown Act in the last term. And one of those, so there's a whole set of changes that we're implementing in response to that. One of those involves daylighting executive salaries. We already do that here at NCPA, but it also goes down not only to the contracts with Randy and myself, but also to our assistant general managers and whoever would be considered a department head. I think we do that when we go through our process of approving salary schedules and those types of things, but we'll make sure that it is very clear before we do any approval of those types of things going forward. Okay, if you can go on to the next slide. I also need to send all of you a copy of the Brown Act. You may have received it already in your other roles, but I'll be sending that back out to all of you. It also has all the similar, a lot of similar items in it that were not changed as far as posting agendas and meetings, special meeting agendas on our website. We already do that. So in a lot of ways, NCPA has already complied with a lot of the requirements. But it has expanded our ability to use teleconferencing, especially for commissioners. If you need to be at a remote location that is difficult to notice or doesn't make sense for you to notice. And so there's some more opportunities there. But in order to take advantage of those opportunities, we have to pass a resolution. So the just cause opportunities to attend from a non-noticed remote location are still there. They've been expanded slightly. There are 2 meetings a year. A meeting is like a day. So if you're on the executive committee and the commission, that is considered 1 day or 1 meeting. If it was a meeting on 2 separate days, then it would be 2 separate meetings. So that's how that works. They also added one for the multi-jurisdictional bodies, of which NCPA is one, where you have an opportunity to participate from a remote, non-noticed location when a whole bunch of conditions are met twice a year. So let's go to the next slide. Here are just some of the requirements. Excuse me, some of the requirements you have to comply with. They're very similar to the just cause ones. You have to have 2-way communication. If we are operating as a commission under those conditions, which means we also have to have a live feed for folks for the public to participate from wherever they are, so we can be subject to the Zoom bombing and things like that under those conditions. But we have to provide that so that the public can also participate from a remote, non-noticed location. You have to disclose if anyone in the room is 18 or over, is in the room with you and your relationship with them, and those types of things is very similar to what we've done in the past. So we can move on to the next slide. Here are all the requirements for remote attendance. The legislature never makes it easy on all of you. They make it easy on themselves, but not on all of you. You've got to be over 20 miles away from any noticed location. You must have a quorum in the locations open to the public. But one of the things we have to do is adopt in open session a resolution allowing us to use this section of the code and allow remote attendance, not from a non-noticed location. It does require that we identify the commissioner in the agenda. So we will need to know in advance if someone wants to take advantage of this. But this does provide some additional flexibility. But it just needs to be, we need to be notified in advance. And here are all the requirements. There are a million of them. We'll be referring them to them often if somebody wants to use this opportunity. Okay, next slide. So staff is supportive of providing additional flexibility and additional opportunities for our commissioners. We do, as an agency, need to take action, and we appreciate the participation of our commissioners. And so we are recommending approval, and this is approval of Resolution 2620, authorizing teleconference participation from commissioners under California Government Code 54-9, 53.8.7, that's the multi-jurisdictional exception or opportunity. So are there any questions about this?
Jane, maybe just a comment. I think this is fine, but I would still like to encourage everybody to, thank you. Encourage everybody to come in person, or it'll be just like, today with a couple of us. But I think given all the stuff that's happened at the state and all the changes, we need to do this.
Yeah, it's just, Yeah, it's an opportunity to allow additional participation.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Suds, did you have a question?
I got one question first, and then Basil has a question.
Okay.
So when you say for quorum, it doesn't have to be quorum in Roseville. It has to just be quorum in the jurisdiction.
Right, and so it has to be quorum at the noticed locations within the jurisdiction, which is statewide. So if you are noticing Santa Clara, for example, that would be counted, as long as there's a commissioner there, that would be counted for purposes of a quorum within the jurisdiction. So just like today, we have folks participating from various locations, as long as those locations are noticed and open to the public, and we have a quorum at noticed locations open to the public within the state of California, that counts towards a quorum. It's just if someone is, you were mentioning it's difficult to post at Yosemite Lodge. If you wanted to participate from Yosemite Lodge and take advantage of this opportunity for a meeting, you would be able to do so without having to post at that location. But your attendance would not count toward establishing a quorum. So once we establish a quorum, then the meeting continues as it normally would, and your vote counts. But it just doesn't count for establishing the basic quorum.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
Let's say I've been noticed to be participating from, say, Yosemite, and I need to leave the meeting halfway through. Does that end the meeting for everybody?
Not if we have a quorum. So you can leave the meeting if you need to leave the meeting. It's only if the communication system goes down. So these meetings require that we have a live like Zoom link for comments, for public comments. So if the entire communication system or the communication system in Roseville goes down and we can no longer provide a live feed to members of the public, then we can no longer take action on any items. And we have to spend like an hour trying to fix it before we can have any discussion at all. But we cannot take action. But if you simply need to leave the meeting halfway through because you're in Yosemite and you can only stay for the first half, you can leave and the meeting can continue because we still have a quorum because we had a quorum without counting you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that was a bad example.
Sorry.
No, it's a bad example on my side. Let's say my meeting is set currently noticed. It's already been done. And I have to that will end the meeting for the whole commission unless I just leave Zoom open in the room. Is that correct?
Well, you can do that if there is a member of the public there who wishes to attend. And we've had some of our administrative staff, when we had folks come here and want to attend, I think it was a PPC meeting, and they opened a room and fired up the computers and let them participate from headquarters, even though there wasn't a commissioner here or a voting member here at headquarters. So you does that help? Okay. Hey, Basil. Oh, you want my list? Only for those meetings where someone is taking advantage of this code section to participate remotely from an unnoticed location. Yes. Yes. That is correct, Basil. Does that make sense? You bet. Any other questions? If not, Chair, turn it to
Okay.
you.
Okay, thank you. So I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 26-20.
Palo Alto. Oh, go ahead.
Lena?
Truckee?
Truckee.
Oh,
And
Truckee.
Palo Alto will second.
Steve Poncelli and Alina, second? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, roll call vote. Alameda? Yes. Bart? Biggs?
Yes.
Ridley is absent. Healdsburg? Yes. Lodi?
Yes.
Lompoc?
Yes.
Palo Alto?
Yes.
Port of Oakland?
Yes.
Reading is absent. Roseville?
Yes.
Santa Clara?
Yes.
Shasta Lake?
Yes.
Truckee Donner? And Ukiah is absent. And Plumas? Okay, thank you. Motion passes.
All righty, thank you very much. Discussion action items. Number 23, Resolution 26-22. Who's handling
Mr.
that?
Chair, I'll take that. This is
Okay.
Monty Hanks. Carrie's going to bring it up. Most of you saw this presentation yesterday, so I'll try to be brief. Again, just as a reminder, the Lassen Municipal Utility District submitted a formal application and paid the fee. They're looking for services in just the LNR area. They have a focus on regulatory compliance, wildfire, as well as CVPIA completion. And there is an interest in the customer programs that Emily spearheads. Next page. We've been talking to the UDs for quite some time about this, going all the way back to August, and then we met again in September and then in November. We queued this up to have a discussion at the December 3rd LNR meeting. And at that meeting is when the committee formally approved, recommending that we accept their application and fee for the membership consideration. Next slide. The next day, I introduced this to the commission. It was informational only. And then there were some tasks to do. Jane was going to bring this through her legal committee. I would bring the financials through the finance committee in the subsequent months. And then we'll report out from that. And so from the legal committee, Jane went through the process, the procedures, what's required if the commission were to vote to approve it. At that point, the legal committee did not have any concerns or issues. On the financials, the finance committee reviewed them. We even ran LMUD's financials through our Moody's credit analytics tool. And based on the financials and the results of that, there were no red flags or issues to report to the commission. We had also invited, as part of the process, to have the general manager, Nick Dominguez, to attend our strategic issues conference. Hopefully you had a chance to talk to him and engage in his, to learn more about LMUD and their positions. Next page. And then at yesterday's meeting, we reported out from the committees, and then we did hold, there was a vote that was opened and a motion presented, and the majority of the members present did vote to move it to the commission for approval. And so next slide. And so with that, that's a brief summary. From a procedural standpoint, as I mentioned, if the commission approves this recommendation, it's like, what are the next steps? It would need, all members, including LMUD's governing boards, would need to approve supplemental number 2 of our amended and restated Northern California Power Agency Joint Powers Agreement, and that would formally add LMUD as a party. And one note there is that's where the unanimous sort of action that would occur, or that is required per our bylaws to formally add a member to NCPA. And then at the same time, LMUD would have to execute LNR's program agreement and then participate in the LNR program. They would be invited to participate in the committee as well as the commission proceedings, but in a non-voting capacity until all parties have formally approved the document through their governing boards, and we have received it here. And then also, Elmwood would not be required to make any of the membership payments during the interim non-voting period. And as a reminder, next slide, because just due to their size and how the LNR fee is structured, their net impact would be about $114,000. As you can see, everyone's offset here. That's based on the 26 budget. It's a rough estimate heading into 27. It probably will be slightly around that number, plus or minus a few $1,000s would be my guess. Next slide. And so at this point, I think it's just to open it up for discussion before we move into deciding what the commission wants to do here, whether it's take action or possibly pause it for a period of time.
Okay, so are there any questions for Monty? Any hands up? Any other comments?
Suds, do you have a question? Suds? Do you have a question?
Sorry, I forgot to unmute.
Oh,
I'm
that's
sorry.
okay. No worries.
I had a question. So currently, NCPA has CCAs that contract for Tony's services for scheduling and such, and they pay for those services. Would it be possible for Elmud to do the same thing?
I'll jump in here. The answer is yes. I mean, we could do a contractual service agreement for just those services. I think in the application process and in the discussions with Elmud, immediately their needs and support are related to LNR. I think longer term, they will certainly want to explore other types of services such as power management and potential resource acquisition. So I think their desire is to actually become part of the overall organization. So their request is a full member. It was never, to date at least, a request to just become a contractual participant with NCPA. Hopefully that helps.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Vicky, are you on the line? I can't hear you. I think you're on mute.
Yeah, I was waiting to be called on, so sorry.
Okay.
That right?
The current request is LNR. The other elements they're really discussing or have discussed with me and possibly with some of our staff. So currently they are 100% under WAPA. WAPA currently schedules all their power for them, and that in the near future is supposed to change. WAPA is going to move away from that. So I think they will be potentially looking for services. They are in discussions, but also with UAMPS to provide that. UAMPS, they're a member of UAMPS as well. And then longer term, what they've indicated is they're building this new transmission path that could open up some new renewable development opportunities. And so they've made it known to me that they could have some interest in some NCPA member participation, maybe in some generation that could utilize that line.
And that's great. And I think we should entertain that conversation, but that's different than what's before us today because they're just asking about joining the LNR piece of this. But they would become a member of the JPA as is proposed. And I think that would give them voting power with respect to not just the LNR budget that was presented yesterday, but overall agency budget.
So, and I think we talked about it yesterday, and I don't know that you were able to participate or you were on it yet at that time when it was being discussed. But yeah, so I was just saying yesterday it was discussed, but I don't think you were able to be on at that point. They Our projects are based on project votes, while we allow folks to vote. If it gets down to it, it really goes to a project vote, and so only those project participants really have votes in that. If you are a member, though, you would be able to vote on overall budgets and activities. It wouldn't be restricted per se, unless it was a project related, say, capital budget for a project. There's some criteria there, but what we have found with our members is if they're not in those activities, they tend to abstain during this meeting, and I wouldn't expect anything different out of last. Yeah. Yes, I believe they would have that ability as a member. Yeah. 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 So Vicky, I need to make sure that you understand, and maybe you didn't realize we have a number of members that are only LNR members that are, so Truckee Donner is not a participant in our generation or any of our operations. They are only an LNR member. City of Reading was that way. City of Shasta Lake was that way. So we have several in that category. So that's not unusual for the agency. I can tell you recently, and this is just very recently, both City of Shasta Lake and Reading have made a decision to enter into a project through power management. But we have several members that are just LNR members. This doesn't establish any new precedent related to that activity. So I just wanted to make sure maybe you didn't understand that.
There's three.
Truckee
Three.
Donner,
Reading and Shasta Lake.
Reading, Shasta Lake, but they're moving to a project. Port of Oakland is moving to its first project as well. And BART is in our program already, so BART wasn't one of them. So there's a couple there, but again, Reading and City of Shasta Lake, since they joined a number of years ago, it's only been LNR. City of Reading has been a member for, I'm looking over at Dan, I think 30 years or something, only as an LNR member. Yeah. I do believe, Vicky, I do believe the commission did take up the item December 4th
Is informational.
as informational.
Mhm.
So, yeah, but, okay.
Didn't we vote to accept their?
I think we voted to
deposit.
accept
I thought
it
we
and the
did
deposit
10,000.
or the application.
That is correct.
But if you would like, I would feel very comfortable because it sounds like we probably need to walk you through or work through a few. If you would like us to defer this today, there's not an urgency that we do this today. But if you'd feel more comfortable with us walking you through some of these questions, I'm very comfortable doing so. Sure.
We took,
Order at the moment.
yeah, we did take a vote, Vicky, before we accepted their deposit. And I don't believe there were any no votes on going forward with the application and accepting the deposit. So I believe at that meeting, at that commission meeting, it was unanimous of those present. So, but that was
We should
done.
add that, sorry.
Yeah, I need to get to that voting template and look at it to confirm, but that's my recollection. That was the case. So that would have been the initial, do we want to accept their payment? Because they paid us like $10,000. Do we want to accept their payment and begin the evaluation? So I believe that we have done that. But in order for them to become a member, it does require that every member go back to their governing board get approval from their governing board, and sign the amendment. So if that doesn't happen, they never become a member. So that process is still out there regardless of what you do today or at a future meeting. But yeah, I do believe that we did take action already.
So yeah, I'm aware of the latter point, which is why I thought that we should resolve these prior points before we, so that the latter process is not held up by some flaw in the former process. So that vote that you're talking about isn't on the history slides, either in the one in LNR or the one I looked at for today. So probably it goes through the one that was presented in LNR. It goes through all the other things.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. We have a couple more questions. Steve, did you have a question?
I just wanted to echo Randy's comment that Greg is a member that does not participate in the projects. That may change with regionalization and the extent that we have market. You know, I think regions and state lines and organizations like UAMs become more and more important over time to the public member community. So I would encourage us to, you know, we are multi-member regions and increase, you know, extend and NCPA tremendous opportunity to respond to Texas scheduling requirements. The scale and scope of NCPA's reach and process only expands as we bring in other states just because I think really benefit from the relationship with NCPA and showing up in DC with facts and using all these things officials as they get involved as far as certainly supporting less division. And while they do have a vote, it's not a show or unanimous situation. You want to be able to resolve this. So I would certainly
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Melissa?
Melissa, did you have a question?
Not a question. Good morning. Just a comment.
Okay, thank you. Suds, do you have another question?
Yeah, just more a comment. So as I expressed and staff expressed yesterday at the LNR committee meeting, you know, we feel like we need a little bit more time to evaluate this. I think everyone here knows that I'm a huge fan of geothermal, but we need to explore what the geothermal opportunities are there, what the transmission opportunities are there for the benefit of, you know, all the NCPA members. And I think we just need more time. The other thing is that I'm not going to approach anyone from Austin if I'm knowledgeable from our staff.
Okay, thank you, Suds. Vicky, do you have another question?
I do. So I was just curious.
Those are currently programs, Vicky, under our legislative and regulatory organization. So Emily LeMay helps manage a number of those programs. They have working groups of the members that come together, and then we issue, say, RFPs for energy efficiency programs or for chargers or various things. Emily also sits on some key organizations associated with these programs. And so they meet regularly. One of our most active committees, I'd say, in the way of programs. And so that is all part of the LNR membership or that program agreement.
Okay, 'cause yeah, I heard her good report on those items yesterday, and I wasn't sure if that's what was referenced here. since
Yeah,
it's not
that's
in her
exactly
report.
what they're talking about.
Okay, $114,000 fee.
Access to those programs under that program agreement, yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
I just had a clarifying question. So I kind of asked this yesterday, but the purpose of this vote is to kind of move forward. This is not the one that needs to be unanimous, but the concern is if it's not, we don't want to go down the path and then just have it die. So in, I mentioned yesterday in real estate context, we're, kind of getting under contract and starting the deep due diligence portion if we vote to proceed. And so I just want clarity on what's really the difference between if we vote and it's not unanimous, but we go down the road. If we vote today to approve this, then they can start attending our meetings, correct? They just can't vote?
Yeah.
Okay. If we push it off, then they can't participate. I mean, they could as a member of the public. I guess my question is, from a due diligence standpoint, is it more valuable to have them in the room where we're interacting and learning about them, where issues may pop up or opinions might change or concerns might be addressed during this due diligence period before we have that before we all go back to our various utilities or cities or whatever to then decide what is our final vote going to be. Do I have that right?
So you do basically have that right. I mean, it talks in our application process that they could start participating but not vote on activities. But obviously they could participate today as a public member, and public members don't get a vote. The one upcoming program that they probably wouldn't be invited to would be our upcoming federal policy conference from that perspective. So that would be an element. We did invite them intentionally to the strategic issues so that some of their board members and Nick could spend a little time and talk to some folks and understand a little bit more about our program activity. So yeah, from my perspective, I would like everybody to feel comfortable, and so if there is a timeline that either Santa Clara or Palo Alto would feel comfortable, still doing additional due diligence if that's what they feel they need, and working with us so we can provide that. I would love to hear that timeline for a deferral, because whatever we do, we need to share that with Lassen too. I mean, they are anxiously wanting to participate, and we do know that the approval process is a lengthy one to give you all sufficient time to go back before your city council. So I don't want anyone to have to start that process if we know up front we're not going to have a unanimous support. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think where I'm coming from is I hear the concerns, and I'm wondering, would those concerns be better addressed during that due diligence period where they're semi-active, like on that path, knowing full well that we all have the opportunity, all right, this is not a good fit, versus delaying that contingency period and our due diligence period to kind of something outside of that. I guess that's my question to those that have concern. Like, would it help to take this next step to where now they are active in a certain capacity. And, you know, to Sud's point, if he hasn't heard from anybody, you know, I mean, that's a perfect time for them to start talking to other members about, you know, any concerns.
I think there's another hand up.
Suds, do you have a question?
Yeah, I think I'm hearing from staff that we need about 60 days, 2 months.
So, is that a motion or request?
Or can they come here and as a public member and then just and see? We've had other groups do that.
Oh, yeah, I mean, anyone can come as a member of the public to our meetings. You bet.
But, so,
I'm happy to make a motion to defer this for 2 months.
the floor is open to a motion.
Okay, I'm making a motion that we defer this for 2 months for Santa Clara to do and other members to do some due diligence.
Okay, okay, I have a motion and a second. All in, or roll call, please.
Vicky.
Yes.
Okay, Suds was first, Vicky second, and I'm taking a roll call vote. Alameda,
Yes.
Bart,
Yes.
Biggs,
Yes.
Gridley is absent. Healdsburg,
Yes.
Lodi,
Yes.
Lompoc,
Yes.
Palo Alto,
Yes.
Port of Oakland,
Yes.
Reading is absent. Roseville,
Yes.
Santa Clara,
Yes.
Shasta Lake,
Yes.
Truckee Donner,
Yes.
Ukiah is absent. And Plumas? Looks like we lost Plumas. Okay, Plumas is absent, so we'll defer this for a couple more months. Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay, thank you, everyone. And item 24 has been pulled. So with that, we're prepping for closed session. Could you take us into closed session, Jane?
Sure. At this point, I'm going to ask everyone in your remote locations to please put signs on your door. We're going to do the same here. It just takes us a minute to double check who's online. We'll be doing that at this point. If you are not essential staff, I ask you to please leave, or you're not a voting commissioner. And I'll be just looking at that list here in a second with Carrie. So give us a minute.
Okay, I'm going to stop
Recording as of, what are we stopping it as? 10:05.
10:05.
And Carrie's going to take care of that. And then as soon as she comes back, then we'll report out and be close to done. Sorry, Bo, I thought I'd get you out of here by noon.
Oh,
He'll be close.
yeah, this is what I'm doing. Actually, this is what I'm
Good
doing this
discussion.
week and next week.
Are we clear?
So, yeah, we're out.
Does anybody on the phone need additional time? Okay, not hearing or seeing anything. So are we back on?
Yeah, we're back.
We're back in recording, so it's noon, we're back into open session, and we have no reportable action from closed session.
Okay, thank you. Any new business? Any new business hands up on
I'm going to, and I know people are ready to go, but I'm just going to raise, so this last week, if you've been following, tracking the news, hard not to see it, there was a penstock failure that occurred at a powerhouse, a hydro powerhouse with Yuba Water. We don't have a lot of details. Jake, on behalf of NCPA, has reached out to them, offered any assistance, technical assistance, whatever we can do to help them. Tony has confirmed we don't buy the output ourselves. I think Roseville does or was involved in potentially some acquisition of some part of that resource that was so damaged. It will be our objective to ensure that we find out what happened, how it happened. You know, a pretty catastrophic event. This could have damaged the powerhouse for years, not just months. And the environmental damage is significant. So we certainly want to learn from it, where possible. Just wanted to make you all aware that we aren't directly involved, but we've offered support. And again, if we can provide any, we'll let you know if they've made any kind of request to us to do so. And hopefully we'll learn so we don't have a similar type of tragedy.
Thank you. Any other new business? Well, with that, thank you, everybody, and we are adjourned. See you in Washington.